All right, so good evening, YouTube, and potentially Kick. So it's 7:34 p.m. on Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. As you guys know, in the background, and I've been doing this ever since the internet really came out, 1993 or so. It started with Yahoo Messenger. As a matter of fact, um, when I went through my legal thing, I was actually streaming. So I wanted to share this a little bit, and this is about positivity, energy, being focused on your goals, respecting yourself, and human interdependency. And I'm going to speak on this because this is so weird. Everything just kind of flipped up over here out of the blue. Um, this is so weird. Did I just? I don't know what happened here. Um, but yeah, so I could talk about it like this. It's okay. We'll go. But just focus a little bit on me here. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about was interdependency. I want to talk a little bit about good energy. I want to talk about vibes, and I want to talk about being responsible human beings. And the reason I wanted to talk about this, over the past 6 months or so, I've noticed like some really interesting things happening. Just in life in general, and I started to notice that there were odd things that were happening in my life, but and these are things that have happened over the years, but I never really thought much of it until I started to realize. I thought, well, it's a one-off. It's attributed to this certain person, this certain entity, this certain thing. But then you start to realize that it's actually more than that. That it happens so randomly and across so many different, completely unrelated entities, persons, and things that it's not a coincidence, and that sometimes it's something bigger. It's something bigger than just what you perceive it to be initially. It's something much greater than that. And with that, I believe there's a responsibility because growing up in the '80s, they had so many um, people were vibing different things about what was to be of the future to come. Okay, and one of the things that was discussed a lot, even before, like I said, the internet, when TV broadcasting really didn't come forth to like 40s, 50s, so forth and so on, even our teachers talked about it back then, but it's not talked about a lot now. There's a thing called methods of mass distraction, you know, things to distract you. There's also methods of control, you know. Then when we look into that, we can delve into socialism and groupthink and how we impact and move each other. And recently I came across something that discussed how, you're programmed almost daily by everything and everywhere you go. I know for me personally, I can't escape it because I am literally connected to the internet. Like, literally connected. I remember a drawing that I did probably in 2004, 2005, maybe 2003, I don't know, of me sitting at a computer, and it was like a cable going from my forehead into the computer. And that is so true. That's how I felt. Because to pass my time, I think I was going through a relationship at the time. To pass my time, what I would end up doing was I would get on like Black Planet and Yahoo and chat. I think I was like Afrasia Moore, Aphrodisiac 69, Mahogany Soul. All of those were me. Because you're young, and I've always loved my biracial, bicultural. I loved everything about me. As we all should, and I still do. Um, and Aphrodisiac 69. Just the reciprocation of the universe, supposedly, and how it's supposed to go, the yin and the yang, all of that. I was really deep into that. Spirituality, grounding, and just the nature of things, right? And it's just amazing to me how prophetic some of those things could be. And the reason that I'm recording this or putting this out there now is because it's more important now than ever to stay focused. My last 3 posts on YouTube were about that, and hopefully the message translated. I say what I feel, how I feel it, when I feel it. And I'm as authentic as possible. It's not scripted or anything like that. But it's so important. Your self worth and your self knowledge, your knowledge of self is so important because when I go back and rewind back to when people were talking about methods of mass distraction, you know, which can lead to mass destruction, because and the thing that's being destructed is spirituality, is the foundation of all, in essence of all being, of love, of knowledge of self. And it's so very important for us to know who we are. And when I say us, people in general. And I don't discriminate. There's good people in this world that are quote unquote based on good. There's people in this world that are quote unquote based on bad. But the thing is to be knowledgeable of who you are so that the more that you interact and the more that you become socially ingrained. And to be successful in this world, I truly believe it. I had a communications teacher at VCU somewhere around 94, something like that, that said, and I will never forget him. He's among a couple of teachers I will not forget for various reasons. But what he said to me, or said to us, and he was a great teacher, by the way. I don't remember his name, unfortunately. Maybe I should pull my transcripts so I can get everyone's name. I don't know if they're still on there. But he said to us that 90% or more of your success depends on how you make people feel, And the truth and reality of the world is that in order to make people feel good all the time, because of all the variables there are in human beings' experiences, perceptions, and what people like and desire, it is very important. And I hope to God I'm recording because I really am appreciating myself and what I have to say. Then when we speak, people in general, what we say is typically for us. People may box it up in a package of something that's marketable to someone else, but it's for us. We're speaking from our hearts, our souls, our perceptions, our perspectives, and our experiences. And like I said, that communications teacher told us that 90% or more of your success, and this is from recollection, depends on not what you know, but who you know. How do you make people feel? How you connect with people? And the thorn, or the little trick to that is this: that in order to make people feel good all the time, I feel like YouTube is not going to get get what it needs because the picture's all blurry. You see cut off. Let me see if I can get something else added on here to kind of, because it's a distraction. Again, methods of mass distraction. And I'm going to, and this is one of them, but I want this message to come across because it is so important. I've been live streaming, not anything, just me, relaxation and productivity. That's what it's all about. Just me doing my personal business, whatever I do personally. And is it not on here? I think it's showing up. And really, enjoying, my peace, really enjoying, and YouTube, I'm doing this just so that there's a better view here because I know that picture's really blurry because it's always taped up. So, okay, so again, the opus, I guess, of the truth, and I believe this is truth that this professor told me, that 90% or more of your success comes from how you make people feel. It comes from not what you know, but who you know. And this is made so evident when you look at the true demographics, not what's reported, because about people being on drugs and this, that, and the other, but about people that are successful and folks that are not. There are people that have been so successful and so intelligent that they have exited out of the university system because it doesn't make sense. You go somewhere to get knowledge, and the knowledge that you're getting, again, being successful there depends on how you make people feel. And sometimes when it's based on how you make people feel, it does not always guarantee that you're going to be successful, because those people, they have goals, aspirations, dreams too. And the vibe and the energy they get from you can determine their success. If you make them feel uncomfortable, because it could be just because of your presence and who you are, they may not run on the same thing that you run on. And that could cause a situation where you may have an hindrance. Now, the reason that I mention this, and I believe a lot in frequencies and energies. I haven't studied that or anything, but I scroll through the TikTok universe, and I see information and people's experiences that I can relate to, that are similar, or that I feel like I have an understanding of, or things that just make sense. And this one lady was talking about how she had a friend that was an ex counterintelligence agency employee, right? And being an ex counterintelligence agency employee, one of the things that she was made aware of was that they have a tool, right? And the tool is, like, even if I left this room and this room was completely empty, they could come back in, and they had some kind of tool that they could, because your words are frequencies, they could catch the frequency that's in the air and determine the conversation. Um, it's more believable and less far-fetched when you hear it coming directly from that source. But, these are things that I don't necessarily doubt. The way the world is going, I think anything that you can imagine in this world is definitely possible and plausible, right? So with that being said, and with that extra input of that knowledge or wisdom from that person, based on the experience of someone that they were close to and they felt were valid, it made me have an understanding that we already have. We already know that words are powerful. Our presence is powerful. Everything that we communicate, whether it's verbally or non-verbally, is powerful, right? But it made me more aware of, even when you're quote unquote by yourself, and these days I don't think you're ever alone, because you're never alone with all these digital items and, everything that comes with that. You're never, ever truly alone. And it made me want to be aware of that and the energies. And I've had a very relaxing and peaceful last few days, and productive, because again, that's what this is all about: relaxation and productivity. However, and on YouTube, nobody comes here. My full name is on there, nobody comes here. But I've also started putting, my full name in other places, because I want to connect and be able to source, if you will, other people that have like minds and like spirits, and it's there's a few obstacles in that. One is that I could post and be live all day, every day, and because there may be other good people that are out there, but because of what they're receiving on a daily basis, they may not communicate because the world, if you're a truly good person, there's a lot of things in this world that go against your spirit and your energy. And sometimes because of that, you have to kind of internalize, so you're not always with your antenna and your connectors out feeling everything that's going on, because you feel everything. And a lot of these things don't match your energy and match your spirit, right? So it's difficult to find good people. One, like the counterintelligence agency, it goes against intelligence, truth. So the things that are purported or reported sometimes are put out there to work against what the real truth is, right? And because of that, for those of us that are the truth, and when I say are the truth, just good people, pure people, that truth is hidden, because there's a lot of things that may be put out there that are counter to that truth, or that block them from even being able to get to the point where they're bam face to face with you. And I remember one time this guy told me, I don't know why he told me this because I don't think this is true, but he was like, you remind me of the person that was a good Jedi and then they turned bad. I'm like, no, I don't have a bad soul in me. But that's the thing though, and it doesn't necessarily mean being bad as being doing bad things, but that you may have had a lot of light, and because of the dimness of the world, it may have dimmed your light. Or perhaps you knew that you had a light, and the people that you were in contact with, um, you know, you saw that their light was out, and you saw that their potential for light, and you didn't want your light to outshine theirs. And I think women are guilty of this a lot, women are. Or have been, I don't know, because I'm not social and out there, so I don't know who's who and what's what anymore. But um, so some of us with bright lights, we dim our lights. But I think it's so important. That light is powerful, and I think that it's so important that we do not dim our lights. And we know that sometimes it can shine so bright that it burns others. But I think it's important that we know the power of our energy, that we know the power of our light, and we learn to kind of capture that energy, let it build up, and release it as appropriate into the world, you know. And I say this because, like I said, a lot of us dim our lights, but the thing is really truth. There's kernel truth in everything, Practice does absolutely make perfect. If you are continuously dimming your light, you learn to do that. And those people that don't have a light, that see that there's something that should be powerful and glow over them, but it's not providing that light and warmth that it should, they're like, okay, let me take control of this. And so then they overpower your spirit and your energy, and their spirit may be not so bright, right? So it's very important for those of us that have an open spirit, for those of us that have light in our hearts and our souls, it's important for us to acknowledge that, that we do have that, And for those of us that have had it purely, before we went through whatever situations that we've gone through, people have seen it and they have probably told you a billion times, oh my gosh, I felt your energy before I even saw you. Or I walked past you. I didn't see you physically and visually, but I felt you and I had to turn around and see what it was, the energy that I just walked past. People can feel you, And I feel like one of the worst things that you can do is that positive energy to take it and make it into something that it's not, which is dimmed. It's not dimmed. Don't allow it to be dimmed. And taking care of ourselves totally and in whole, mentally, physically, spiritually, socially, because we do have to connect. We're human, which, I'm going to say this. I remember when I was going through the homeless situation, I remember, just everywhere, and it still happens now, but it's not a homeless situation per se, but it's in a different way, spiritually, where it's almost like, and I said this, and it's so weird, a couple of days ago, I came across somebody on TikTok that was saying the same exact thing that I've said like 20, I've been saying forever, right? A bunch of years ago, at least a decade ago, right? And because somebody asked me, You know, and I've had so many situations where people have told me in different situations, this is so weird, I don't understand it. It's like you have so much light, and it's like when you move through places, and I think it's because when you are like the light or light, and you don't let your light shine through, you know, the environment and the spaces around you recognize that you're not being what you were intended to be, and because of that you're seen as an anomaly. And just like the body rids, you know, bacteria or blood cells that don't fit, you know, or serve the purpose that it's supposed to serve in your body, it removes it. It's the same thing. So if you are not successful or find yourself doing well or connecting and those types of things, it's because, you know, the design that God or the creator or whatever you want to say has created for you, you are not standing in full strength of that purpose, right? And that means if you're dimming your light, you know, and I think the universe will allow you to do that for a little bit, you know, because you have lessons to learn and you have to learn it from both sides of the coin, right? So if you're dimming your light, if you're um, if you're not living to your full potential, that's what happens. Um, there was a certain thing that happened that kind of catapulted me into speaking on this, and the reason that I was, because like I said, I don't get traffic at all on YouTube, right? On Kick, you know, I have my full name on here. I have two accounts with my full name on it. One I stopped because I was embarrassed because, you know, when I was advertising, not advertising, but when I was actively discussing my business, I actually had someone that hit me up in regards to it, and I wasn't ready. You know, I wasn't ready. And what I think that I'm going to, and so because of that, I was kind of embarrassed, and so I haven't gone back. But I'm still me. You know, I'm still me. I still have those desires and those hopes. And the thing is to never give up. I'm not going to give up on those things. But the thing that brought me to this, because when you expose yourself, like I've always been open, like I said, live streams, whatever. But you know, places like Kick, I'm finding that there's a lot of like weird things going on. And this is what y'all are looking at YouTube Kick, right? There's a lot of weird things, you know, that go on there. You know, you find people come on, they don't say anything, they favorite you. I find a lot of, and I'm not a racist person in a negative way. I'm racist in that I see the differences in the races, and I can observe and see that someone's white, or observe and see someone's of this ethnicity or this ethnicity, or perceived to be of that ethnicity, right? And I see creepy things. And somebody else, I had mentioned it once before, someone else said they feel the same way, you know, and I've had people jump in talking about hoodoo, not talking about it, but their names indicate that, or you click on a profile of someone that says hi, you think it's really innocent, you click on it and it's completely something really out of pocket, you know. And coming across, I'm being distracted again, but coming across those types of things, and my allergies have been acting crazy too. But coming across those types of things, and excuse me, a minute. Coming across those types of things, and now it's gone. Okay, but coming across those things, types of things, and wanting to address them, you know, it shifts the mood of what your purpose is. And my purpose here is just to be me, you know, and it's a positive thing, and it's nothing really, you know, targeted. It's me just doing my thing and having company in the background. If somebody wants to say hi or speak, they can, you know, in hopes that other positive energy people or good people will pop up and say hello. But that's not at all what I'm getting. And I think part of it is because of um, intentional negative advertising, and you know, things like that. So thank you, and I'm gonna say this. Thank you to, I think Kick has a mod bot. I don't know if it's an actual human being or if it's an actual bot or a combination of the both. But I'm thankful because I've been streaming almost nonstop until I get kicked off for one reason or another, for the past few days. And there have been comments and things that have been automatically removed. People have been banned without even me seeing that they were even joining. But you know, it's the balance between protecting your energy knowing the power of your energy, the source of who you are, and acknowledging, things that are in opposition to that. Like some of these things that come up on Kick, just really weird and creepy. I mean, creepy. Um, and the reason that I haven't just been here on YouTube the whole time doing this is because it's a bit of a respite for me. Um, it's like I'm ending a chapter and beginning a new. And sometimes you need to cleanse the palate before you begin the new. So that's kind of what's been going on. Cleanse the palate, just really relaxing, but nothing out of the ordinary that I don't normally do. So the whole purpose of me saying this is that for those of us with light energy, those of us with, and everything's a matter of perception, good spirits, the type of people that, love to learn. I love education. I love to learn. The type of people that like to teach by their presence. The type of people that love to grow. That have a. As I'm older, I have more of the ability to be open to it, but have a low threshold of negativity and that type of thing. As an older person, I understand that there are many different people in this world, and like I said, some of their sources are not based on light, are not based on good. But it's a balance again of putting yourself out there and exposing yourself, meaning leaving yourself, somewhat vulnerable. Because when you put yourself out here, like it's vulnerable because this is a Kick room, right? And I don't necessarily have control over who comes in. I have control, meaning I can move people immediately. But then you don't want to get to the point where you're throwing everybody away, and then you don't have an opportunity to interlocute, to communicate, right? But then also you don't want to be at the point where you're allowing any and everybody, access to you, and they disrupt the positive experience that one little needle in the haystack, that one little person that may just want to vibe on a positive, point that, they're not able to because there's so much, misinformation, whether it's intentionally stated, directly and verbally, or whether it's insinuated by something that someone said, So, the past few videos that I made, again, I talked about what real luxury and what real prestige is, and it's character, it is integrity, and all of that is not based on what the world deems that to be, but it's about knowledge of self, knowing who you are and staying true to that, because again, everybody and everyone doesn't have the same purpose. And your existence, whether it's positive or negative, someone else can look at it as a stepping stone for them to get to where they want to be. And they will, possibly maneuver perceptions and anything like that, as they feel, they can, if you're an easy target, um, to get to, where they want. But again, just protection of your energy, but again, taking the responsibility as well to come head on, or at least, put yourself in the presence of those things that seek you that are not good, so that you have an understanding of it. And that, I mean, you can't retreat all the time. It's all you can't, you have to be present, you know. Um, so it's a balance, Like I said, I don't want to go and like block everybody or ban everybody, But also there's other things like, because I'm on live so frequently, and it's so and it's so continuous, and typically there's no one here, or a lot of people come in and then they leave, and I'm actually doing stuff, even though it don't look like it, and it's nothing that's, pressing or anything that's confidential, it may appear that I'm just sitting here not doing anything, and if I'm on live, I must be on here because I'm here to entertain or something. No, not necessarily. I'm just relaxing. It's like me being at home, and if you have a good spirit, you happen to be a friend and just stop by to say hello, or you just pass through, or it's equivalent of me maybe sitting at home with all my windows open and people just walking by, and because, you're there, they glance over, but they might just keep walking, It's the equivalent of that. I've had hurt spirits come in where, perhaps I wasn't looking at the screen and I missed what they had to say and they were upset. Hey, why get on live stream if you're not going to talk to anybody? You know, and it's usually a male. I didn't see your comment. I didn't see it. I happened to look away because I was working on something. So, and then the spirit in me was just like, well, did I bypass the bullet on that one? Because if this person is confrontational because you were not looking at the screen, you were doing something, how would that conversation go? But those are the places, back to the old biblical standards, about the people that are sick are the ones that need the most, you know. So did I fail? And sometimes in the way, but I'm understanding of me too. Possibly because that person came and they wanted communication with somebody, but I wasn't looking at the screen. But on the same note, it's a maturity thing. Sometimes I used to pass time when I'm not actively doing anything and I could afford to. It's a leisure just to be able to scroll through other people's profiles and not do anything, you know. And when you're doing that, you know, there's times where people may not speak. They may feel that your energy is off. I had a picture on my Kick where, like I said, I was really into that TikTok AI thing where there was an AI picture and it just like blurred bodies. And I think it was one that I attributed to my ancestors, right? And some black guys live, and I was just like, oh hey, such and such, and I was the only one speaking. And then they clicked on my profile picture and saw that, and I guess it spooked them. They was like, oh hell no, it spooked them. Just like a lot of times when people come into mine and I see their pictures, and some of them are creepy. They're like occult type stuff. Mine was just an AI thing. Nothing, and it wasn't of me. It was just of other things. But so we have to have an understanding. And this is just about developing better connections so that we're able to serve the purpose that God intended us to serve. And there used to be a Bible verse. Now I don't want to spend too much time with this because I have other stuff to do. There used to be a Bible verse about, standing within the vocation you're in. And last December before last now, I used to always, read that. That was about Kwanzaa time, and now I have Kwanzaa all year on my page. But it was Ephesians 4, right? And Ephesians 4 talking about standing, making sure that you're worthy of the purpose. Ephesians has always been my thing. Make sure that you're worthy of the vocation that you're held. And if your vocation, but I think that you can't do anything other than that, because if this is what you were rightfully supposed to do, it'll, in the end, it'll come to success. Whether it's something that you deem to be success, you personally, or not. You serve whatever purposes of the greater good wants to be served. And going back to that, I talked about how, if you're the type of person everywhere you go, you're just kind of like cast out. And it hasn't always been that way for me, But it's because, again, we're all part of something greater. Just like every cell is a living organism within itself, but it's interdependent with everything else. It's the same with us as individuals. We're part of something bigger. We all make up the bigger picture. So with that being said, we all have our purpose. My goal is not to make anybody feel bad about whatever their purpose is, if they're positive or they make whatever, because we all have our purpose. We're all here. There are people that are probably way better than me that are gone, and there are people that are nefarious and completely the opposite of me that are still here, and in the eyes of the world, they're doing really well, But none of that matters. What really matters is your knowledge of self, is you knowing who you are, and having goals that are associated with grounding who you are, with growing roots and expounding and exponentially growing, who you are. And that comes with knowledge of self, having specific goals, no matter how small that goal is. If that goal is teeny tiny, and I've said this before, whether it's just that you put on clothes, that you rolled out of bed, or if it's something bigger, great. Whatever that goal is that's attainable for you, you take that first small step to get there, because we are here, and when I say we, all of us, we're here for a purpose. And when I say all of us, it's not excluding anything that's living, breathing, whatever, or maybe not, everything has energy, But we all have a purpose. We're here, and if we're sentient enough to be able to create goals towards that purpose, create a goal, a small one. It doesn't have to be big. Doesn't have to be anything, that will be celebrated by anyone else. But MLK said, keep your eyes on the prize. Stay focused on your goal. Take small steps to get there. Don't get distracted. And if you find things that are in opposition of your goal, remember that, the universe created that too. Just smile at it, that it's doing what it's intended to do. And you continue to do what you're intended to do. That was another thing that I talked about as well. I hope YouTube can hear me. But that was another thing that I talked about as well, about the Jamaican actress that said that. They was just like, nobody has to like you. Nobody has to love you. No one even has to respect you. But you make sure that when you look in the mirror, you love what you see. And when I say look in the mirror, it's not necessarily just visually, but spiritually. Make sure that you are who you are intended to be. And make sure that whatever it is your purpose is in this world, that everything that you do, works towards that purpose. Anyways, love and bless. And I have other things to do, so I'm not going to go into it deeper than that. And I talked around some things versus directly into them. But yeah, be you, love you, be you to the full. Make sure that you are you to the fullest extent, to where there's nothing else that can encompass what you do, what you say, what you think, what you be, other than you. Be you till you are full. Anyways, I love you guys. Peace out. I'm going to get back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I think I'm probably an hour off time now, but yeah.